All right, so I had to phone a friend for this one. We had some tough news out there lately with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, so I had to call up the biggest comic book guy I know. We'll talk a little bit about Chadwick. We're going to talk about Black Panther character and kind of where Marvel can go from here with the character. I would assume they're going to continue on, but I'll introduce him. This is Jimmy.
Yo, hello, how's it going? Greetings and salutations.
I've known this guy for, I don't even want to admit how long, but so
some would say too long.
Yeah. When did you first hear about the passing of T'Challa?
Late last night. So I guess it happened sometime yesterday during the day. And I got a text from my girlfriend, who's out of town right now, at about 11:30 last night. That just said Black Panther is dead. Cry emoji, cry emoji, cry emoji.
Yeah.
So I was confused. I hadn't been on Twitter, all night because I was just kind of hanging out watching TV. That's where I get half my news these days. So, and I'm like, the actor? You mean the actor? Or did you hear about some storyline in the comics coming out that I don't know about yet?
We could only hope.
Yeah, and she's like, well, yeah, because I'm like, if it's the comic book character, he's coming back. He's not Uncle Ben.
Or Martha Wayne.
Yeah, exactly. So then I turned to the internet and start looking up, and I see the real tragedy that it is, man. It's he's older than us, about 10 years older than us, but for all intents and purposes, in the grand scheme of people, he's a kid. He's 43. He was 43.
Yeah.
And he's had cancer that he's been undergoing treatment for the past 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So in 4 years, so in that time, and we'll just talk about, even if you're thinking of just the comic book movies, he's given us Black Panther, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yep. All within 2016. So if we go back 4 years, 2016, he's done Gods of Egypt, Captain America Civil War, Message from the King, Marshall, Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, 21 Bridges, Da 5 Bloods, which I've never heard of. That one.
That's a new Spike Lee one. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
There's one, it says completed under IMDb, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which sounds like a porn. There's a What If that was in the process of filming, episode 1.1 for the 2021 Marvel series for Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. And there was a pre-production movie called Yasuke, Yasuke, which is a samurai of African descent, similar to what was that Tom Cruise movie from back in the day where he was a samurai?
The Last Samurai.
Yeah, so that was in pre-production, so I don't think we're going to get that. But everything else seemed to have already been filming.
Right.
So he was...
Think about the output of some of those movies, right? I mean, that's a short career, really, when you think about it, because I don't remember him much on the radar. The first thing I remember him in was that Jackie Robinson movie.
Yep.
Which was good, which was really well done. Because I'm also a big baseball guy, so I was happy to see that as well. And oddly enough, the day he died was Jackie Robinson Day yesterday for Major League Baseball, and it was also the 103rd birthday of Jack Kirby, King Jack Kirby, co-creator of Black Panther.
Yes, co-creator with Stan Lee. So he was just shy of his 43rd birthday, born November 29th, 77 so he's pretty much 10 years older than us, to August 28th, 2020.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild. And so about he was going through cancer through all of these movies, and the dude was shredded, right? Which is such an absurd, a testament to this dude's, I don't know if it's just willpower or work ethic combination of those, or what?
Well, apparently in the past maybe year, he got real skinny. Year,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years. And people thought he was slimming down for a role,
Yeah.
like kind of like Christian Bale did in what's it, The Machinist, where he's
Yeah.
tiny. But I guess it wasn't for a role.
The thing that I thought was that was just his normal size, and I thought he was,
Thought he
he had
bulked up.
bulked up for Black
Yeah,
Panther. Yeah.
like the guy that did Shazam, who's like
Yeah.
generally a skinny guy, and then he looks like somebody like pumped air into him and blew him up.
He literally does. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because I know a few people that have had to go through chemo, and I mean, it breaks you down. It can't be tough to like work out, and then some of these film set days are long days.
Yep.
Like you think of it as a cake job, but they are days where you get there at 5 a.m. You got to sit in a makeup chair for 3 hours, then you got to go on set, you got to wait around, I mean, they're long work days.
Yeah, and they don't have trailers just because they're assholes. They literally have trailers because they got to sleep there, and
yeah, they got to be on set for 18 hours, and
yeah.
So I can't even imagine how tough it must have been to stay in the right shape for these movies.
Yeah.
And then to keep his illness as close to the vest as he has, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't widely known. His family put it out again yesterday.
Yeah, and you'd think that some asshole would leak it or something at some point. But...
TMZ would see him coming out of a doctor's office or something.
Yep. Absolutely.
But he played it Tony Soprano therapy style. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Keep it on the down low, which I mean, I guess it's just a point out there. Like, you never know what people are going through or struggling through.
That's true. And maybe he had the same thought that I did, was just like, maybe everything will be cool and you don't ever have to tell anyone, you know what I mean?
Right. The chemo will work, I'll be back on my feet, and especially a young guy like that, you think it'll turn around. So
yeah, young, super healthy, fit dude, and it's like, man, it's wild. It's so crazy to think about, and it's like, when I had the moment when I first got the message, like, get the fuck out of here, was the very first thing I thought.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
well, like I thought she meant the character. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, well, he'll be back in a year and a half or whatever. That's
yeah, that's the exact time. It's like 18 months, start the clock, and we'll get the character back. But man, it's just so wild. I had the same moment, and not to get too far off track, but I had the same moment when Kobe died. It's like, what?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's not going to be Kobe on that helicopter. That's wild. Right. They think it's Kobe, but he was going to get in the helicopter and he missed his car or whatever. Like, yeah. It's a similar type of thing. And another, young guy who, Kobe had just retired as a player. A year ago? A year before?
Yeah, something like that.
But who knows? Could have went into coaching, seemed to be real involved with his kids and getting them involved in the game. So had, a full road of potential out there ahead of him.
Yep.
And same with Chadwick Boseman. Who knows the type of movies? And again, not just Marvel movies, but all type. You just listed a ton of shit he was working on. Who knows what else would have came out of this guy?
Directing, future, all that kind of stuff, and it's like.
Right.
I don't even know if he had kids, but man, it's rough to think about.
Oh yeah, totally.
But why don't we move on? We'll talk a little bit. We obviously discussed that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the character, and Black Panther's first appearance was Fantastic Four number 52 in July of 1966, which at the time was such a revolutionary character to be added. I'm sure there were others, and Jim, this is why you're here to speak to that. But he's one of the first few, black characters to be a prominent black character, right?
Oh, definitely the first, and the first to be prominent like that, and the first to not be written really in like an Americanized racist sense either.
Yeah.
Um, he's not Black Panther because he's a black dude that dresses like a panther, I guess is,
Right.
is the way to put it. It's it's not like Black Lightning or some of these other black characters.
Yeah.
The character made sense. The way Kirby drew the features made sense. Was a great addition to the building of the larger. At the time, he was part of the larger Fantastic Four universe, but eventually got his own series in his own right, which was great. That introduced all its own mythos and built up all of Wakanda and all of that. And sorry to kind of backtrack a little bit to the movies. Just that ties to what the character meant in the comics at the time. For a lot of these young black kids to see Black Panther out there as he gets his own movie finally. What's the last black character that kids could watch? So let's not count Blade here. To have a movie like that, Blank Man.
Blank Man. Oh my
Like-
God. Coming soon on Worst Movies Ever.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, I liked Blank Man as a kid, but I mean, when you think about it, like I remember seeing videos when Black Panther was coming out. These, they take videos of kids in inner city schools going fucking nuts, excited to see Black Panther, and I don't blame them. I'm excited for him. I think it was an exciting thing. I think Marvel really built up that world similar to how they did when they introduced it in the comics. Let's bring it in and let's not patronize people. Let's be 100% serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and which brings us to the next point is what are they going to do from here? Are they going to go Shuri with it? Or they're not going to scrap the franchise. I know that there's too much money involved in that.
Right. I don't think they'll scrap the franchise. I think Shuri was Black Panther for a bit in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an option. I think it's a good option. I like the actress. I'm blanking on her name right now that plays Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
I like the character. I think she's a lot of fun. I think with the What If that they already filmed or partially filmed, that they could take the audio and try to make that an animated or CGI version.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even write it out and get somebody that can do the accent similarly to how Chadwick Boseman does it. Just to explain why you're writing him off.
Yeah.
So that you can do something else with the character. If you decide to write him off. If you decide to recast him, that's a different thing.
I don't really like the idea of recasting him. This was the same. It's similar to what happened with Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious movies. They didn't kill him off. They wrote him off into the sunset. And I'd like this to happen here, but I mean, it's kind of a pipe dream of mine.
They could do something where he gets trapped in the negative zone or something like that, and he can't if they take that What If it wouldn't make sense with the What If. They'd have to do it in the second Black Panther.
Yeah,
but they could cut to something that explains, and this would be a great way for Marvel to tie Fantastic Four in now that they have the rights. Reed Richards comes up with something. He goes on some adventure with Black Panther. Gets him trapped in the negative zone.
And possibly some sort of rewriting of the ending of the first one. You could bring Michael Jordan back, Killmonger. If you didn't want to go the Shuri route quite yet, you could have Killmonger.
You reform Killmonger, which is an option.
Yep.
Because he also was, as far as the villains go in Marvel movies, the villains haven't been their strong suit in the movies. Right. And Killmonger was one of their best attempts.
Yeah, and they kind of made him sympathetic at the end. Spoilers for Black Panther when he died.
Spoilers for a movie that came out 3 years ago.
you know how it goes.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. This gets posted on the internet, so somebody's bound to get pissed if we do spoil it or if we don't. So
It's true. But I think those are the two best options at this point is Killmonger and Shuri. But I mean, I personally would not be super comfortable with them killing T'Challa. I think that would be the last option. I would say Killmonger and Shuri 1 and 1A, and then recasting would be a third one. Even though I wouldn't want to see that either. I don't want them to kill him off because imagine being his wife. You know what I mean?
and then
Like
you basically gotta watch him die again.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not super into that.
I don't like that option either. And I think if Marvel's smart, which they are, Marvel and Disney are smart, depending on we see the way technology is moving, right? And they now have the option to put Peter Cushing in a Star Wars movie who's been dead for 20 years. So, why not just write him out for now, have him occupied, have somebody else take up that mantle with the option down the road that you could possibly, not that I always agree with this either, but you can possibly CGI him into a movie later.
Yeah. Even as like a spiritual guide, it could be like a what is it when Iron Man quote died and he was like the new Jarvis or whatever to whoever took over for him.
Yeah, right.
In the comics, he could do that for Michael B. Jordan, Eric Killmonger. We should just call
for
him.
lack of a better word, a Force Ghost. Right.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
To take it from Star Wars. Yeah, he could be a Force Ghost.
He could be the voice of reason for the guy who's like teetering on the brink of villainy,
Right, totally.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, and and just to kind of close out on a point on him in the movies, what Chadwick Boseman brought to that character, I don't know. Or the only one you could maybe argue would be Chris Evans. What other actor that's portrayed a superhero recently brings the same gravitas to their character as Chadwick Boseman did to Black Panther? The only other one I can think of is Christopher Reeves to Superman.
Yeah.
And then maybe
George
Evans.
Clooney to Batman.
No, maybe Chris Evans to Captain America, but I could see that more for younger kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just that, when you watch it and you're like, this fucking guy was made for this.
Yeah,
made to be.
Marvel, when they make the right decisions, they make the perfect castings, and it's like Chris Evans, great. Downey Jr., great.
Downey Jr., great. Yeah, that might be another one. Downey Jr.
Yeah.
But like literally like this guy, yeah, perfect for that part. Yes. Perfect. I guess I saw an interview with him on you ever see the show Desus and Mero?
Mm.
It's a show on Showtime. It's just these kind of two hood guys from the Bronx that just kind of talk shit about the news, and then they'll have a guest and they'll chat with the guest for 5 minutes. But he was on there and he was talking about the accent, like how he came up with the accent, and he was like, well, since Wakanda's not a real place, and this was him, not the producers that came up with this. He's like, well, since Wakanda's not a real place, I just like watched videos of people from different places in Africa and combined a bunch of dialects to come up with something that's half familiar but different.
Yeah.
Because it almost sounds like Nelson Mandela, right? But it's like, oh, something's off though. So it's not quite that accent. And that's the type of thing like a good actor brings to a role like that.
The only thing I remember from Infinity War that I didn't like from Chadwick Boseman, it's like, get this man a shield when Cap shows up.
I love that.
No, it was such a cool line, and it's the wackest shield ever.
Oh yeah, it gets the triangle one.
Yeah, so get him a real shield.
Like he should have went, no, go back. Yeah. Bring me the I mean his shield. I meant to say his shield.
Yeah. That was such a badass moment. That was like one of my favorite things, except the freaking shield that came out of it.
That was great, but also when you think about an Endgame, I remember seeing Endgame, and again, this is the fun of seeing some of these movies night of, like opening night. This is in the old world, in the pre-Rona world, when Black Panther comes out of the portal in the big fight at the end, the crowd loses their. Well, I mean, first you see Falcon, but the next person you see is Black Panther, I believe.
Yeah. On your left.
Yep. And yeah, it's just great, and the crowd loses their shit. Pumped to see him.
Hell yeah.
Good. But you know he's gonna run super fast and fuck somebody up. I love it.
Man. Do yourselves a favor, go watch Endgame, go watch Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War. Watch all these movies, but have you seen 21 Bridges? Did I lose
you? Broke up there.
Oh.
Yep.
Have you seen 21 Bridges?
I have not, but it looked entertaining. It looked like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's they shut down all the bridges out of New York City to find some cop killers, and it's pretty cool.
Okay,
and he's like the main dude in it. So
all right, yeah, and there's not a lot of that. That seems almost like a throwback action movie that they don't make that type anymore. Really,
sure is.
Like that seems like something that would have came out like in the late '90s. Like Harrison Ford would have been the guy 20 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Or what's his nuts? Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Oh,
yes. Yeah. All right, so
check that out for sure. I'll check that out for sure. But yeah, just a big note on that. You know, it's a tragic thing. Rest in peace. You know, love to his family, all that. Chadwick Boseman. We're gonna miss a lot of great things that could have happened.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out for Black Panther 2, and for sure, like what they do with this what if. So, all right, so we're gonna wrap it up here, and if you guys like Jimmy, give us a thumbs up in the comments. You know, let us know, and we will catch you guys next time.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.